So, big set of Warhammer 40K releases this week. We've got 6 new interesting squads, including the Adeptus Arbites, the individual release of the Guard Kasrkin, and a potentially quite fun little discount set for Necrons. Let's talk about what we've got and the prices. Hello and welcome back to Warspets Tactics, where today we're talking about all of the Warhammer 40k releases, the things that Games Workshop has announced the price for and are coming for pre-order soon. This week's maybe a bit more of a kill team themed release, but just about everything is kind of relevant to 40k as well. And I'd say perhaps the biggest news is the fact that you can get a whole bunch of really quite cool miniature squads in individual releases rather than big bundled kill team boxes, which weren't really that great if you only wanted one squad from them. So these releases are the pre-orders that are going to be going live on Saturday the 11th of February. As with Games Workshop's usual releases, they'll typically go up for pre-order then, and then they tend to go on general sale release the week after. It's quite nice to see the Guard Kasrkin finally get their release, their much anticipated unit for the Codex, and I feel like a lot of 40k players are looking to be getting their hands on them. There's plenty of other interesting or relevant stuff though. We've got Kill Team Soulshackle with the Arbites, the new Kroot miniatures, the Imperial Navy breaches and Hierotek Circle in individual boxes. That Necron one is a fairly interesting value set. There's some more individual releases for some Space Hulk Gallo Dark terrain, and the Legion Sky Hunter Squadron, the Scimitar jet bikes for the Space Marines in Heresy. Let's go through the releases and the prices. First up, we've got Kill Team Soulshackle. That's £110, €145, or $185 if they go with their normal conversion rates. Unsurprisingly, this is the same price as the previous Shadow Vaults one. In this one, you get 2 kill teams, the Adeptus Arbites Exaction Squad, and the Drukhari Hand of the Archon. There's a kill team rules manual for them, plus a whole bunch of the Space Hulk shipboard terrain, this one being a different kind of flavour with some breachable walls, and a few other fun flavourful scenery things, a bunch of consoles and things, including one that's a holographic display that looks very similar to the board itself. Overall, I think the price is a bit annoying if, say, you just wanted to get your hands on the Adeptus Arbites, which I feel like might be the case for a fair few people. Obviously, that would be a whole ton to pay for one Warhammer squad. I guess if you did have the ability to resell things like the Space Hulk terrain if you didn't want it, and the Drukhari kill team, it might not be the worst proposition in the world. The other unreleased kill teamers and the Space Hulk terrain generally seems to go for okay prices at the moment on eBay. I guess the kill teams in particular because no one can get their hands on them until Games Workshop releases them individually, unless they buy this or buy the kill team second hand. For the 2 squads, here's the Adeptus Arbites. They're pretty much the big draw of the box, brutal Imperial police force / FBI type agents who turn up to apprehend galactic level criminals, rogue planetary governors or the like. People generally reacted pretty well to their miniatures. It sounds like the kit is remarkably customizable. You've got the option to give them all shotguns or equip them all with maws and shields. I do quite like the idea of a 40k themed riot police unit. They also come with their Cybermastiff as well, who's definitely added value. The other kill team is the Drukhari Hand of the Archon. This one's a upgrade sprue thrown into a Kabbalite Warrior box set. For me, I'd say that this is a bit less exciting. You do get a few cool bits, including a fun creepy mask for one of them with some new combat weapons. One guy's got his pet bird along. There are some fun bits for Drukhari, but I feel like it just doesn't really change the overall flavour of the unit that much. Appearance-wise, it's not all that much bar a few aesthetic upgrades. I'd say definitely less exciting compared with if they got entirely new models added to their range. It'll be interesting to see if they get any sort of updated rules in 40k for any of their new gear. That might wait until the next codex though, as with things like Tower Pathfinders. As mentioned, I feel like one of the biggest things for 40k players being released this week are Imperial Guard Kasrkin. So far Guard have had about half their range out, but they're waiting for a few other things, including the new Rough Riders and a bunch of characters. The Kasrkin squad is as expected for the other kill teams, £35, €45 or $60. These guys have been fairly hotly anticipated, as previous kill teams have been going for crazy prices on eBay. They're one of the Guard's strongest units in game, but very few people have been able to get their hands on them so far. I think they did rather nicely with these models. They've got a generous amount of special weapons, with 2 of each in the box, plus a bunch of specialists, including that melter mine, the sniper guy with a heavy hotshot gun, and things like medics and a Vox operative. The Kroot Farstalker Kinband has also got an individual release as well, again £35, €45 or $60. These guys are a nice upgrade to the Kroot Mercenary Squad. They're far more recent and updated models, and apparently you can arm them all with the standard Kroot rifles if you just want to field them as Kroot mercenaries in-game in 40k. It does look like, for the moment at least, the standard Kroot Carnivore Squad is still on sale for Games Workshop. If you want cheaper Kroots, then that will get you a lot more models for the price. I don't know if they're going to keep that on sale permanently, or eventually these guys will just be the only Kroot that you can buy. Otherwise, in Warhammer 40k, you can run them as the elite Farstalker Kinband. They're an elite's choice with a couple of special rules and a few fun weapon profiles that, to be honest, aren't particularly impressive in game at the moment. Next up, we've got the Imperial Navy Breacher team, £35, €45 or $60 once more. Imperial Navy forces used to repel shipboard battles, pretty appropriate for this whole boarding actions thing. Again, a rather fun kit of miniatures that was pretty well received, and you can field them as a squad of Imperial agents in Warhammer 40k. Again, their rules aren't really all that strong. I feel like Games Workshop maybe does that deliberately, so every single army doesn't feel obliged to pick up one of these. Quite a cool thematic squad though that you could have marching to war alongside you guys. I guess there's a fair amount of fluffy reasons they could be joining an Imperial force for some fighting. Perhaps one of the kits that I was most interested to see the eventual price of was this Necron Hierotek Circle though. It's very slightly more than the other kill teams this week, £37.50, €50 or $60, but I'd argue that for Warhammer 40k it's perhaps one of the best value deals of the whole lot. In the box set you get the Technomancer Cryptek, a squad of Deathmarks or Immortals, the full plastic kit, and then on top of that you also have an upgrade sprue that gives you those two unique plasma sights, and a couple of upgrade parts to get you to build the two mini characters within the kit, the Apprentech and the sort of raised Immortal with the gun. At current prices, Games Workshop sells the Technomancer plus the Immortals for £47, €61 or $77, so that's already quite a decent saving there. Never mind the fact that you get a few extra bits in the kit, like those plasma sights. Makes it really quite interesting if you wanted to add a Cryptek and one of these squads into your 40k army. I guess theoretically you could even push the value further, get it from a discounter that's got something like 15 or 20% off, and then if you really didn't want to build this unit you could even resell the upgrade sprue, which I'm sure will go for at least some reasonable prices online. You could get yourself some very cheap Necrons on the go. Currently for this one there isn't any 40k standalone datasheet yet for a Hierotek Circle. Again, I'm not sure whether they'll come out with one for these. I guess you can field the standard issue models in game already. I guess we'll have to wait and see on Games Workshop's front there. Next up we've got a bit of Kill Team Gallodark terrain. There's one called Killzone Gallodark, which I believe is the walls and things from one of the previous Kill Team releases. I think it also has a few pipes and generators and things, so it does have a few differences with the boarding actions terrain set that Games Workshop released for 40k. They've also got a little kit called the Killzone Shadow Vaults upgrade set. This one has a few other fun bits just for battlefield debris and things, security panels, weapon lockers, a robot crawler, and a heavy bolter sentry turret. Unfortunately, it looks like Games Workshop haven't released the prices for these yet. I guess we'll have to wait and see when they go up for pre-order. I'd say the Gallodark terrain one might be particularly interesting to weigh up versus the whole boarding actions terrain. It might well be a way that you could get some functional terrain for that, and it might be a bit cheaper, fingers crossed. Next up, we've got a release that they teased really quite a long time back. These were announced when the whole boarding actions thing was announced in the first place, Void War bases. A fairly good going set of Warhammer bases, themed for their shipboard style of terrain, so you could have a bit of texture on your base with a bunch of panels or grates or things like that. In this set it looks like you get 20 sets of the 25mm bases, 20 of the 32s, and 20 of the 40s, plus they also give you a whole bunch of other scattered bits and things, little upgrades and things that plug into the floor, or broken grates. I guess some of those could be useful enough to add a bit of theme to larger bases which don't fit in with these three sizes. I know at least a few people have been waiting for those. They're £24, €31, $50 or $38, so basically the same price as one of Games Workshop's mid-sized character models. Overall, for the amount of plastic you get, I'd say that these things aren't too bad. Bear in mind though that Games Workshop is competing against 3D printing now. If you're happy to work with some resin bases, that could be a very viable alternative. I'm sure plenty of people will have some similar sort of style parts. Finally, for the Horus Heresy, we've got the Legion Scimitar jet bikes. This is a Sky Hunter Squadron and is sold in threes. These are £37.50, €50 or $60. That is basically in line with Games Workshop's current pricing for their jet bikes and things, the same as the Custodes Virtus Praetors for example. They don't have any 40k rules or anything like that, and I think it's actually somewhat unlikely that they'd get them. Space Marine jet bikes for the most part seem to be a thing of the past, though I guess seeing as we got some rules for the Kratos tank, it's not impossible that we might get rules for these. My guess would be that the next place that they might update them is the Imperial Armor Compendium when it arrives in 10th. It's probably a fair way out at this point. So anyway, let me know what you make of all the releases then. Would you be tempted to pick any of this up, and are the prices good or bad in your mind compared with other 40k? If you were looking to pick up any of these at a discount, Element Games usually has them at somewhere between 10 and 20% off Games Workshop's prices. They're based in the UK, and I do have an affiliate link for them down in the video description, which helps support Auspex Tactics a little bit if you buy anything after clicking on it, and no extra cost to yourself. I do recommend buying through third-party retailers wherever you are in the world, though if they do give you a bit of a discount, it can add up quite a bit for Warhammer. Finally, if you have been enjoying all the videos on the channel, I would just like to mention that Auspex Tactics does have a Patreon page as well, and you can find that linked in the video description below. Channel Patreons are the ones that allow me to keep on making videos like this just about every day, so if you are enjoying a lot, any support is enormously appreciated. The channel's backers do get a fair few advantages, seeing certain videos early, regular votes to see what sort of things come next on the channel, and automatic entry into the regular prize giveaways with a chance to win some big model kits each month. If any of that sounds good to you, or you'd just like to help support, the link is down in the video description. In any case, a massive thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.